Score 7.2. No defects. Repeat, no defects. Out. On track 1. Please wait for the doors to open before departing. Close the door, please. Thank you for riding on the
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Cab Crew Wednesday on this 11/26 of 2025, which is Thanksgiving Eve. Hope everybody's warm and safe, and hopefully everybody's doing well out there. Let's just say hello to everybody in the chat right now. Jim Tedesco's here. Welcome, Jim. Thanks for stopping in. Gerald Stewart's here, and welcome, Gerald. Did you paint any of those mini-me's I sent you yet? And then Tammy and Ray stopped in. Welcome, Tammy. She's in New Jersey right now, I believe. Welcome, Tammy. And then Rail Artist is here. Mike, welcome. Then JD's here. Welcome, Grandpa Rails, JD. Thanks for stopping in. Then Schuylkill River Valley, John is here. Welcome, John. Hope you're doing well. And let's see. Oh, and then Bob from PKW Modelworks is here. Welcome, Bob. And Papa John's is here. How you doing, Papa John? Yeah, thanks a lot. That was a lot of work on that there, Papa John. I'm going to be doing a better video of it soon. Just haven't had a chance to do anything with that yet. Been so busy doing other troubleshooting steps here, and I'll go over some of the stuff that I'm talking about in a few minutes here to get all the hellos out of the way. If I missed anybody, just give me a little shout out and I'll make sure I say hello. But I think I caught everybody so far. And let's see. Okay, so a week or so ago, I told you guys I had a little problem with one of my NCE Switch 8 MK2s. That's the device. Yeah, it is hard to work underground. You got it. So I shipped them off to NCE to repair it, along with one of my EV1s that I had. And they brought it in, and then he called me up and said there was nothing wrong with it. But they tested it all and said it all worked. And so they shipped it out, and I got it here pretty quick. It should have been here one day, but the post office didn't move it, and came the following day after that, so it wasn't too bad. So this is the EV1 that I got fixed. Right there, right where my finger is a push button, and that's what was missing from it. So this is good now. So I got to hook this up to my workbench in the train room to test out short circuits and stuff like that with trains going over a turnout I have on there. So that's that. So they sent it back to Switch 8, and that night didn't have much time. But I mounted it back up on the layout because I had all the screws and the standoffs, and the holes were still there. And I screwed it back up on there, and then I connected all the wires for the turnouts and hooked them up. And there was two of them that I had. I have everything documented in one of my little pieces of software I have on my computer, so I know which port is which turnout and stuff like that. And I had moved some things around, and I never updated the thing, so I had to trace two wires, found out what they were, and documented it this time. So it's all good now. So I hooked it up, and it has a power adapter that you can plug in, and then there's a switch on the Switch 8. One is DCC mode and one is DC mode. In order to code up the addresses, you have to have it in DCC mode. And once you get it all set up, then you can flip it over to DC mode. Then the power adapter keeps power to that device. And what happens is if you get a short circuit on a turnout, for example, and the wheels aren't derailed, you can still run through that turnout. It keeps it powered and the frog powered and all that stuff. So that's what's nice about the Switch 8s. So um, I connected the DCC wire to the two screws, and I left the power adapter off, and I had it switched over to DCC mode because I was going to reconfigure all the turnouts. So I turned on the NCE system, and when you do that, the Switch 8 has an LED screen there, and it's supposed to go through a little diagnostic, and then it's going to put 3 bars, and then it's going to squiggly the 3 bars. When the squiggly goes, that means you have DCC communication, and you can configure, or the turnouts will work and everything like that. Well, it went to the 3 bars, and that's where it stayed. It didn't go. And I'm going, what's going on here? And I go, oh, there's Harley. And I said, let me take he said it was good. So I said, great. So he always comes in and visits me all the time in here. And I said, there's got to be something else wrong. So I said, let me disconnect the DCC wire and let me run another pair of wires. And so I took them 2 off. Now I have these T connectors that I crimp onto the bus line, and then I have a spade connector, which is enclosed it's enclosed, so it's not exposed. And then that slips. Hey, Rick, welcome. Thanks for stopping in. And then you slip that onto the T connector on the wire. So they have different colors. There's red, there's blue, and there's yellow. Well, I crimped on 2 blue connectors on the thing, and I had a red one on there. And I thought, well, maybe it's not making a good connection. So I found 2 more red ones, and I crimped them on, and still nothing. So I said, I'm going to replace the wire. Well, I found out that wire was pretty long, and it was a solid wire. Okay, so I found some stranded wire, put 2 connectors on it, plugged it in, connected it to the Switch 8, and bada bing, bada boom, everything started working. And when he emailed me and told me it was working, he didn't tell me that they didn't reconfigure it. They just tested it. Well, all my addresses were still in there. So they came up. As soon as I got DCC, I heard a couple of them move. I said, oh. So I went over to my control panel and hit the number of the turnout, and it changed it, and everything worked. So I got that to work, and then I tested the solid wire, and there was a break in the wire. It's all coated, it's covered all the way through, but somewhere in there it broke because I didn't get resistance on both ends, and I said, something's wrong here, and so I just threw that wire in the garbage. I'm going to go through and see if I have any other feeders or something, because when I first started out, I started putting solid wire on my feeders because it was easier to solder the solid wire. The stranded wire, they get all over the place and stuff like that. But so, hey, Dwight, welcome. How you doing? Thanks for stopping in. So it was just strange. I wouldn't have had to send it back to NCE if I would have known that the wire was bad. I should have thought of that originally. And but anyway, that's how you figure out things, by troubleshooting. So um, that was that, and it was just weird that they didn't do anything funky to it, which was good because then I didn't have to recode all the addresses. And then I validated the address of the two that I didn't know which way they were, and they were the ones that I thought they were. So now it's documented. I know which one it is, and uh, I gotta trace one more wire to find out where that one goes. Duplicate number somewhere, but it all takes time to get that stuff straightened out. So, uh, so then I tested all those 7 turnouts, and they were all good. So, um, as far as when I switch it, it moved back and forth. It went from back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So, um, I'll go back to the turnouts a little later down. I got something to talk about that. Yeah, it is a good happy ending when it works, right? So, um, everybody knows I got a new mini computer, and I had 3 monitors set up on my JMRI, and I said, I need one more monitor. And since I had 4 ports for HDMI, I had an open port. So, and I didn't know if it was going to work or not. So Amazon was having their um, Black Friday sales and everything, right? So I go on Amazon on Monday afternoon, and I order a 24-inch monitor. And it said on the thing, overnight delivery. And I go, okay. So I clicked on it. And then the order process and everything, and it said it'd be delivered from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. And I says, yeah, sure, right? Well, it came at 3:45 a.m. My ring went off. I got an alert on my phone. I was in bed sleeping. I looked at the alert. I looked at it, and there sure was the Amazon guy walking up to the door, putting the box there. So I said, I'm up. I'll go out. I go out and get the box so it wouldn't get stolen or something like that. But yeah, 3:45 a.m. they delivered a package to my house, which was pretty cool. So I got that. That when I woke up that morning, I took it out of the box. I plugged it into the power an extension cord out there I had in the train room I'm using for a drop light. And then it came with an HDMI cable, but I had a little short one. I plugged it into the device that had the open HDMI port on it, plugged it in, screen came right up. And you wouldn't believe, I was surprised. It came right up. I had 4 monitors now, right? So on Tuesday, I started printing my 3D printed brackets for the Visa mount on the back of a monitor. Those 4 screws are Visa screws. I didn't have any of those, so I had to order some Visa screws. I had screws, but they weren't big enough. Hi, Barbara. Welcome. So I had 3mm screws. And I needed a 4mm screw. So the Visa pack I ordered from Amazon, it was like $6. And I ordered an HDMI cable, a 15-footer, so I can mount it on the wall and run it to the mini computer. And then I ordered some envelopes.
I'm not quite sure how to help you.
Oh, I mean, I ordered some plastic envelopes, and I'm going to be sending out a lot of those mini me's to a couple guys. Rick's one of them, and stuff like that. And I said, how are they going to know who they are? So I got to put them in an individual plastic bag. They're 2x2. Put one in there and label it who it is. Hey, Joe Rader, welcome. And so Amazon came to my house 3 different times today. And then every time when I ordered it, it said it will be added to your other order. It'll be shipped. They were all shipped, but they all came at different times. So Amazon was here at 9:30 in the morning. That was the Visa screws. Then at 3 o'clock came the plastic bags, and that was marked for delivery after the HDMI cable. Then the HDMI cable came at 5:30 p.m. So it was, I don't know why they just didn't wait and throw them all on the same truck, and boom. Okay, so I'll give you an update on Barbara since she can't really see yet. So Monday, she had an eye doctor's appointment, right, at 1:45 in the afternoon. And so I had to drive her to her eye doctor's. And I said, what's the address? She gives me an address. It's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And that's 60 miles from here. And it takes almost 2 hours to get there because of traffic and everything. You drive from here, and it's not that bad. You can make good time. And then once you get into the outer skirts of Philadelphia, things get congested. So we get there. We get there a little bit before 1 o'clock. We park in the parking garage, go into the Willis Eyes Center, and we go up to and the lady goes, oh, you're not here. You're in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So we had to call Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Now it's a little after 1 by the time we got into the hospital and everything, right? And they said, well, if you can get here by 3 o'clock, I said, well, we're in Philadelphia right now. I don't know how long it's going to take because on this Schuylkill, the Schuylkill Highway, which is 76, it can take, a long time to get through that section to get up onto 476, which is a northeast extension that takes you up to Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Scranton, and upwards north. So we get back to the car. We get in the car and we're driving, and it says, "Oh, we're going to get there at 3 o'clock." And I says, "Well, that's good." And then we got stuck in traffic on 76 like I anticipated. Then it started going to 301, 302, 303. But once we got through that mess there on 76, we got past that spot, and then we got on to 476. We picked up speed because that road is 70 miles an hour. That's what's posted. So you can drive up there and go. So we made it there. 1 minute, 2:59. We got to the doctor's office, and then they waited for her, and they took her in and checked her out and everything. So the doctor told her that it's going to be a couple of weeks before her eye clears. Because what they did is they put a sac behind the eye. It's called a gas sac, and then they have three sutures, dissolvable sutures in her eye, and they'll dissolve. That's what was coming out of her eye. She didn't know what it was, and she was nervous about her eye leaking, but it was just the sutures dissolving and coming out. So she still can't really see well. It's going to be a while before she sees and everything. So, but that was an adventure, you know. It was a roundabout way. And matter of fact, I even said to her, I said, "Why can't they have an eye doctor near your house? Why have to go all the way to Philadelphia?" And she even wrote down on her calendar the Bethlehem office, but the doctor made a mistake by he circled the Philadelphia office, and that's the paper she had, and that's what she was going by. And that we had to drive down there and then drive all the way back up there. But we made it, and then we were glad that she got in to see the doctor about her eyes. So, but she's coming along. So, hey, Randall Ellison, welcome. Glad to see you in here. So, that's what's going on with her. And balls of gel, yeah, it's pretty amazing. That's right, Bob. Yep. And then that thing behind her eye will dissolve, and that's what's helping the sutures dissolve, I guess. So, with her dental work, they want to make sure that they didn't use any nitrous gas because that would affect that thing in her eye. So, but they don't use that stuff anymore. They give you Novocaine and 1,000 shots of Novocaine to numb your mouth, stuff like that. Yeah, it always is. You know, what can you do? At work tonight, 12 to 12 yard shift. Nice. That's a long shift, Randall. So, well, so I was testing all the turnouts, and I said I was going to get back to the turnouts in a few minutes. And I'm running the train. I want to get the my switchers in the lower yard. I want to get a switcher down there so we can maneuver around the cars and everything. So, but no, he's parked always, Bob. When he was on the streams, you could see he was parked in his vehicle, and then he was videoing the trains coming through and all that stuff when he was up on the channel. So anyway, so I was one of the turnouts that was on that switch 8 was the 3-way I have, which is a code 100 track. It's the only piece of code 100 track I have on my layout. Everything else is code 83. I wish they would make a code 83 3-way, but nobody does. And so I run the engine backwards through it, and it derails. I run it through it forward, and it doesn't derail. And I think those small switchers have trouble with all that mess that's on a 3-way. So I switched it to one of the diverging tracks, which has a code 100 1/3 piece, and then I had these transition joiners to go down to another curved piece. Then it would go into the industry section. And a long time ago, I was having track power issues with that 2 pieces of track there. So I soldered that joint. Well, I didn't realize at the time I was soldering it that the rail joiner there was one of those transition joiners. And what happened was the track dropped down a little bit, and that was causing a derailment of the car as it was going around a corner. It would just fall off the track and derail. So I had to yank those two pieces out. I have a couple pieces of that 1/3 code 100 in a box, but I didn't have any code 83 track. So I just took a piece of 18-inch radius that was all messed up from a piece I tore out, and I still had all kinds of ballast on it and everything. Cleaned it up a little bit, and then I cut a piece out of that, and I used that. And then today I picked up some more transition joiners at my local hobby shop, and I connected them, and the cars roll on it nice and smooth now. So, and soldered the feeder wires onto that track and had power and everything. And so I was trying to run the engine into my lower yard, and it was stopping on the first turnout into the yard. So I said, what's wrong with this? You know, why is it stopping there? It would derail everything and stuff like that. It switched good. And so I looked at the track, and it was a little dirty, or something was on it that I didn't recognize. So I took my Bright Boy and I scrubbed it down real good. Then I took some mineral. Then I took my pads that I got from from Harbor Freight, and it shined it up real good. Then I took some mineral ice and mineral spirits and cleaned it off again. And then the engine wouldn't hesitate. But as it was coming off of the frog, the headlight went out and the engine stopped. So the piece of track past the frog has no track power. And it's only when it's on the diverging track. So something isn't passing power through to that section of track. And so I'm going to see if I can get another turnout. It's a number 4 turnout. It's a small turnout, a number 4, number 561 Atlas, which it's a custom line which has a powered frog, so you can electrify the frog to make it power. And so I'm going to have to get another one of those because something's wrong with that turnout. Now, what I'm going to do later is I'm going to run it through the rest of the yard. Has like 5 or 6 turnouts up there. I'm going to run it down the each siding and make sure that it runs through each one of those turnouts without any problems before I go and change something. But I was just thinking maybe soldering a wire on. I don't know if there's the diverging track comes from the rail coming on the straight through, and that curves around and goes to the diverging track. So there's got to be power there because there's power on the other side of the frog and the rest of the turnout. So it's just that one. I think it's just that one section of rail, and I don't know why it's not getting power here. Because right there where it connects to the next turnout, there's insulator joiners there. Now, I could maybe take the insulator joiners out and put regular joiners in there, because that next turnout is on a block that goes all the way across. So that turnout had power at that point, but the one little piece of rail there, the wheel was on it and the headlight went out as soon as it hit that. So it's strange how that is sometimes. So so I guess now what I got to do is test all the other turnouts by driving the train through them. The yard is a big one, but the yard has bigger turnouts, so they won't be too bad. But the number 4 is a little tight, but that's the only space that I had there to get it to work. So I had to use number 4 there to come into the yard. But I was only planning on using switchers in there anyway. So that's what's going on with that. So behind me is this Conrail engine. And it's working now, but I ran it up the helix and it hesitated on a couple of turnouts. And the turnouts are powered. Yeah, cold rail. Well, I got to find out where that turnout is getting its power from. And I got to see where it's not insulated, because I insulate all my turnouts on all 3 sides and it's a separate block. But in that case, I don't think I did that. So I got to check it and see. So, but that's tomorrow. I'm not going to mess around with it anymore today. But that's a good idea. That's the same side that had solid wire feeders on it too. So, but the passenger train runs through that turnout with no problem. But that passenger train never goes into the yard. So it just goes around, and that's always set for straight through all the time for the passenger train to run through it. So it runs over that, no problem. It's just on that little section of the diversion track. So I'm thinking if I take the insulator joiners off of that other turnout and hook them together, it might give it power, and that should work. No battery power here. Hey, Mike, welcome. Glad you can make it in. So, that's what's going on with the turnouts, and then that leads me to making another project of running the cars through all the turnouts to make sure they work. And there's 5 more turnouts that I have to check. They're in hard locations for me to see, so I gotta do a little extra work on to get them to be tested out. But 95% of my turnouts are operational, and I got one that's not working power wise, and I think I have a workaround to it, or I just pull it out and put a new one in, because that should have power all the way through. And I have that situation everywhere because I have insulator joiners on all 3 legs of the turnout on a lot of my, just about every one of my turnouts, even the double crossovers and all that. They're insulated, all, completely. So that's that. So this engine here, the other day, since I ran it up the helix and it ran over those turnouts and it hiccuped a few times, I said if it would have had a keep alive in it, it would not hiccup. So I had a soundtrack to keep alive, put it in, and then the thing went nuts. As soon as I put it on the track, it took off. I had 0 on the controller and it just took off. Couldn't figure out what was going on. So I took I sent an email to Soundtracks, and so what I found out was it was touching, that was hitting the top of the inside of the roof, and it was squeezing on the wires. So I don't know what the squeeze on the wires did. So what I did now is I used Teflon tape and taped all the wires down, and I taped the decoder down, and then I closed this up, and everything worked. So it goes backwards and forwards and all that kind of stuff. So since had it open, I said I want to take the that's right, Jim. So I can't. I said it has the speakers in it are not very good. I don't know why. Can hardly hear it at all. Even when I play the horn, it's real low, and the volume in the decoder is all the way up. So I said, so I contacted the guy at Scale Sound Systems and asked him if he made speakers for the GP35 Atlas, or the I forget what brand. Oh, this is a Bachman GP35, and he didn't have any. And this Bachman GP35 is the one I took down to Joe Rader's house, and that was the one that I burned out my Dremel tool from boring out the holes to put the speakers in. So this has been a long going thing, but the thing runs nice, and I just wanted to get it because I want this to be up in the yard, and this is going to run up and down the helix and bring cars up and down to different locations and stuff like that. So it's one of the engines. So I'm going to do that. So so what I did was I ordered a Power Bridge number 3 from Nick's Train Z. That's the guy who makes the decoder buddies, and they're really small current keepers or keep alives, whatever you want to call them. And he put in a connector wire, and then I got to solder them 2 wires together. Then I can plug that right into the purple Soundtracks Tasami 2 decoder. It has a connector on there. You just plug the current keeper directly in there, and away you go. Okay, Bob, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Thanks for stopping in. We'll catch you later. So so that's what's going on with that. And then Scale Sound Systems, he shipped out the speakers today, so they're on their way. So I can get this engine up and running again. So that's what's going on with there. And I've been 3D printing some backdrop buildings. I had some backdrop buildings I got, and they came in a pack, and then they were paper, thicker paper, but not not like a piece of this kind of paper, but it was a thicker paper, not cardboard. And then you bend it, and then you flip over the roof, and then you had a building, right? And it was a backdrop building. But when you put them up there, they would fall over all the time. So I said, that's it. I'm yanking them out. I'll 3D print some, and they'll stay in position. So I decided to 3D print some buildings, and I got 3 of them made. I'm making the 4th one now. I had 5 of them. Matter of fact, I just finished the one. I have 5 of I had 5 of those paper ones, so I'm replacing all the 5 of them, and I got th 3 made. I did the 4th one just finished, and I got to print the 5th one. So then they'll stay in place a lot better. And then I can put lights in there. I could put lights in the paper ones. They were all solid, no windows open. They were just painted on there. So these will be better. And it's like I have up on the yard level. That's level 3. I have those buildings. They were all 3D printed. They have lights in them and roofs I put on them and stuff like that. So that's what I've been 3D printing the last 2 days, trying to get them out of the way. And let's see. Yeah, I talked about the turnout problem. Yeah, so going to see about that turnout and stuff. So it's like always little glitches here and there, and you just don't know what can go wrong. Turnout worked great all along, and then, as a matter of fact, I even ran those 2 engines in that yard before, but when you don't use them for a while, something might have happened. So, okay, Joe, have a good Thanksgiving. And Puppy wants to play. Yeah, time for that. Yeah, that's a cute little guy there you got there, little Miss Tammy. So, yeah, have a good Thanksgiving, Joe. We'll catch you later. So, oh, so anyway, the other day I was working on my turntable, and I got the ACM unit, which I showed you guys last week. I got it, and I wanted to add that other service track in before I put the ACM unit in. So in order to get that other service track in, Walters told me, make sure you do a factory reset on the control system of the turntable. So there's a procedure in there, and I followed the procedure. And after I did that, all the tracks that I had assigned, 25 to 35, they all disappeared. That's good. I said, great. So I go click on the track button, and then that brings up the track number on the screen, and it's flashing. And then you hit the CW or the CCW up or down, and you scroll through the numbers. So I scroll through the numbers, and I only see 00, 01, and 02. I click on up arrow again, it goes back to 00, 01, 02. I only have 2 tracks I can assign. I got 13, right? So I go, what's going on? So I did some research, looked at YouTube. Everybody talks about how to install the turntable, but nobody has a video on how to troubleshoot a turntable. Not one. There isn't one out there. I can't believe it. Out of all these years, and somebody hasn't put out, hey, if you ever had it, right? So as I was doing some searches, I found a forum, and so I signed up to that forum, and then I saw another guy had a question about a Walters turnout, and so I said, okay, I posted a question, and within 10 minutes, somebody replied, and the guy wanted to know this and that, and I replied back to him. Then he replied back again, and then another guy got involved, and like 3 or 4 different guys got involved, and tried everything that they suggested. Because this was over the weekend, I can't talk to Walters over the weekend, and so Monday comes, and I call up Walters, and the guy in the support group of Walters' name is Keith, and he was out of town that day. So I had to wait until Tuesday to call, which was yesterday. So the other guy said, oh, you have to code up tracks 1 and 2, and then 3 will show up after you get 1 and 2 done. Well, that didn't happen. So I only have 2 tracks assigned to 1 and 2 and nothing else. So I get a hold of Keith on Tuesday, and he said, well, let me talk to the DCC guy, because I asked him, hey, what if I hook up the ACM unit? Because with that, you can code up the tracks without using the control panel. And he said, well, let me find out from him what we can do and stuff like that. So I talked to him. I talked to Keith early in the morning. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning, because they're in Wisconsin, so it was like 9 o'clock there. That's when they opened, I think. And he said, okay, he told me he was going to call me back. I waited till about 3 o'clock my time, and then I tried to call him, and then his message said that he was out of town until after Thanksgiving. I said, I just talked to him today. How can he be out of town? So I called back again, and I remembered the name of the guy he told me he was going to talk to was a Nathan. So they have, you can hit a number and enter the first 3 letters of the person's name on the keypad, and then they give you the extension number of that person. So I called him, and he didn't answer, so I left him a message. And then I waited like a half an hour later, and I called back Keith again. He answered this time. And then I told him, hey, your message. He said, oh, yeah, I have to change my message. It doesn't automatically change anymore. I got to manually do it now. So I said, yeah, other people call in and they'll think you're out of the office or something. They won't know. So he's going to fix that. So when I talked to him the second time, he says, yeah, we were testing one here in the lab, and we're going to ship it out to you. He said he'd probably ship it out today, but I don't know if he did or not. He didn't contact me and tell me that it did or not. So it won't be here until next week. So even if he ships it out today. So that's going to fix that problem. That's the controller that goes underneath the pit. It's held by 4 screws, real easy to change. And the connector is a brick that you plug into it, and you don't have to undo any wires or anything. You just take the 4 screws out, disconnect it, put the new one back in, and connect the wires back into it. It's simple to change. So just have to wait till it comes. Then I can code up all my addresses. Then I can get the ACM unit in and do that. So that's what's going on with the turntable. I did weather the bridge on the turntable, and the track. I weathered the track on the bridge. I weathered the sides of the bridge. There was a shiny black. Now it's rusted look colors. And then I put I weathered the pit too. So I put in the pit, and there's green and yellow and brown and different colors in there. Couple of wood pallets laying down there, couple of pipes I threw in there, stuff like that. So I'll do a video of that once I get the turntable working, and you'll see how I weathered the. It was pretty easy to weather the pit. I found a plastic cap that went on a bottle I had of something, and I saved it for some reason. I said, "Oh, this fits perfect on top of the hole that's in the pit." See, the bridge has a connector on the bottom, and then when you push that in that hole, that connector hits the connectors that's inside that hole. Well, you don't want to get any debris in that hole. So I put the cap over top of it, even when I take the bridge out, even if I'm not doing anything to the pit or anything. So put that cap on there, and then I was able to sprinkle with a spoon the Woodland Scenics stuff on the pit, and it came out pretty good. And then nothing's moving around or anything. And I didn't get anything on the top of the rim where the thing rides around. I kept everything below that rim when I was sprinkling on. I used an eyedropper to wetten the bridge area, the pit area, and then put the stuff on. Then after I put it all on, then I wetted it again to seal it. Because I put like 3 different colors on there to make it look like it was, growth and stuff. So might put a little green stuff in there too. I don't know yet. Because there's not much clearance underneath the bridge to the pit, just a little bit. So if I do a little green, it's going to have to be real low, not a big bush type of thing. It'll knock it over. So that's the thing. The other thing I was working on, getting that going and stuff. So I don't think there was anything I needed to show you on the camera stuff. That turnout situation and the lower yard. I'll test out the rest of the turnouts in the lower yard tomorrow with the 2 switcher engines I want to run in there. And or there's going to be one in there. I don't know which one I want to run in there. But those 2 I used to run in there, never had a problem. But now that I don't have power on that track, it's going to be something. Got to be something else. So, but Boxcar Gary Midnight Train. A lot of videos. I try to watch everybody's during the day when I'm working on stuff. I catch up when I see somebody post something. It's pretty common this time of year to be a lot of videos out there. So I don't know what else to discuss tonight. If anybody's got any questions, don't forget, if you want to mini me yourself, don't forget to send me a photo, full length, head to toe, little background as possible. The easier the picture, the better off it'll be. I haven't been on Meshy for a couple of days. I should have. I was going to get my replenishment points, so I should have well enough points to make a bunch of new models and stuff. But we'll have to see how it is. I got all the Dessler people printed. Just had problems with 2 people. The one I just reprinted and that came out good. the feet didn't break off the second time I took it off the printer. And the other one was Papa John. The photos that they had from Dessler, a lot of them were him with a bunch of other people and a lot of background stuff in them. It was really difficult to get it, but I finally got a good one of him, and I was able to print it. So he was the last one I got. So everybody else is done and printed, and I just have to wait for Barbara to get her eyes in shape so she can paint them, and then I get them up on the layout, that group. Then I can, then I'll start printing. I have 2 orders, and one's for Rick and Rick's Trains. He's O scale, and luckily I have DB Tech Dave in O scale that I created for him, so I can just use him as a guide for the size for all the people. And I do know what the size is for O scale now too, so I can go from there. And I'll start working on them. And then Rick also sent me an email. He wants me to make him some dwarf signals, so I'm going to make them up for him too. That's all after the holiday. I'll start working on those. And now that I have the envelopes or the plastic bags, I can put each one in and label each one so you know who the person is. And because if I would just throw them all in a big bottle, it's hard to tell who they are. Now I can tell who they are because I have the original photos. I can look at the photo and see who it is and know who it is. Like I have all the there's 24 Dessler people, and what I did is I took a blank piece of paper and I wrote down all the names, and then I have that model underneath the name, so I know which one is which. So it's yeah, that's good, Rick. So I'll have them out, and then once I get them printed, it's I let them set in water overnight. That way, when I take them off of the bill plate, they slide off the bill plate a lot easier, and then that helps loosen up the supports. And with you, the O scale a lot bigger. They'll be a lot easier to work with. The HO scale is really small, and cutting in between the legs to support, and sometimes the leg snaps off, and then you got to reprint it again. And so it's always something like that, you know. And, but that's how it is, you know. Trial and error, especially with the 3D printing stuff. So yeah, I usually let the printouts on the A1 sit for 15 minutes to cool down. Then they're easier to pull off the plate. I just take the plate off and flex it, and then they sometimes they pop off, sometimes they don't. If I have a scraper, I just slide it underneath it and pry around it, and then it pops off. So when I was printing the building pieces and stuff, so that building piece I'll take off. That's the walls, and like over here, I got some windows. That's a closed window. And then this is a window with it all open. So I put in, I printed both files, and then I just randomly pick windows to go into the slots. One's open, one's closed. And so they got to be painted a little bit. I printed everything in gray filament, Got the filament from Amazon. They had a sale on it. Polymaker. That's the brand I'm using now, because that works really well on the A1. I had the Sunlu and eSun filament that I was getting before, but that didn't work too well on the Mini. Then I looked inside there and I saw which ones they were. You could select when you select the filament on the printers, and I saw Poly Light, so I get Poly Maker now, and that works in both of them. So and it prints really good, so I'm happy with it. And I think they were $16 for a spool. So, and eventually I'm going to get the refills. Then I'll just put them on the metal spools that I have. I got 3 of the metal ones. Well, 2 metal ones and 1 plastic one. The one that I 3D printed. Doesn't look nice, but it still works. And that was one of the first prints. I think I printed that on the Viper. Maybe I'll reprint it again on the A1 and see how it comes out. And or maybe I didn't check to see if I had errors in the file or something. I don't remember. So I didn't like the way it came out, but it still works. You know, you just twist it, it comes apart, put the spool on, close it, take the tabs off, and then you got your thing. Or I can use it to re-roll a roll onto it from another roll. So I pretty much used up all the old filament. I still think I have a couple of spools of some, I don't remember what colors they are, in the closet in my containers that are that have the humidity gauge on there, tell you how much humidity is in the room air in that container and stuff. So, and it has desiccant in it in the container. I made those little cups that go into the container, and then the lid closes and seals it and airtight. So that works well. Don't have to worry about the filament going bad when they're in those containers. So I've used filament over. Now I had some blue filament and some red filament spool, and those 2 rolls had kinks in the thread in the filament, and they were causing all kinds of problems. So I just threw them in the garbage. I said I'm not going to deal with it. And just got used different colors for things. So, and the kids always ask me what I want for Christmas. I think this year I'm going to tell them to get me an AMS unit for my Mini, so I can have 4 spools on that guy too. That unit is a little bit smaller than what I have over on the A1. So it has the connector for PTEF tubes. So it has it. So oh my goodness. Where are you at? Oh, wait, Rick, where are you? Let me see. I know where you're at. Let me see. Michigan. Yeah. Okay, John. Thanks for stopping in. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and have a great one. We'll catch you later. Yeah, well, that's that time of the year, Mike, Rick. And where you live, I'm surprised you didn't have it earlier. I go to I used to go to a football game on Thanksgiving Day. I had been going to that since I was 4 years old, and I hadn't missed a game. Then the stupid flu thing came, and they played the game, but nobody could go watch. That was the stupidest thing I ever heard. So that broke my streak. It was over 60 games in a row I saw. So after that, I just got pissed off and I don't go no more. But I can watch it on a stream or do something like that. So the high school I went to plays the high school. I'm in New Jersey, and the high school they play is in Pennsylvania. It's a rivalry game. It's they've been playing that game for over 100 years. My dad played in that game. My brother played in that game. So a lot of history there. But that's what I used to do. But then they kept on making it earlier and earlier and earlier. You know, it used to start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That was great. Then they changed it to 12 o'clock. Then they changed it to 11. And then, now it starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. Nah, that's too early. It's still really cold out at that time. You know, give it a chance to warm up the stadium and everything. They play the game in a college stadium. That's how many people go to see this game. There's like 50,000 people go to this high school football game on Thanksgiving Day. So, matter of fact, when I was living in Key West, I'd fly up on Thanksgiving to go to the game. And the 1 year that I flew up, ESPN broadcasted the game live that year. And it was a great game, too, because my high school came back in the last few seconds of the game to win it with a touchdown pass. So it was a pretty good ending. Ann Arbor is 30 minutes from me. Yeah, I've been there. I've been to Ann Arbor. A few times. Used to go up there. There's a place, I forget the arena we were at. My son wrestled, and we went up there for a wrestling tournament. Was it the University of Michigan? I don't remember. Somewhere around there. Yeah, up there, the roads are all you have all these concrete medium strips. You can't even cut through them or anything. They got it all blocked off. You have to go up a ways to turn around to get on the other side of the road or something. It was crazy. One morning, the kids wanted something for breakfast. We were at the tournament there, and they said, "Let's go get something to eat real quick before we start." They weighed in, and then they could eat after they weighed in. And drive around, and then there was I think the one kid wanted McDonald's or something. So it was on the other side of the road, and couldn't get over there. We had to drive a mile out of the way to get around to go back to go to McDonald's. It was crazy. Were you at Joe Louis area in Detroit? University of Michigan is in Ann Arbor. Sorry. I think, yeah, we were in University of Michigan. We were at there. and we were at Detroit also. They had it in different places, different years. I don't remember what the name of the tournament was, but that was when he was in grade school. We were up there, not high school. This was grade school. Yeah, we went all over. Hey, Alfonso, how you doing? I have a DCC HO locomotive that a friend sent me. Depends on the decoder, Alfonso. In the decoder, you'd have to set it so that it can run on DC. I don't know what brand of decoder is, and I never do that anyway. So it's a Bachmann. So it's probably an ESU decoder, I'm guessing. And because I think that's what Bachmann puts in is ESUs. So you're going to have to contact ESU and find out how to run it on DC because I don't use ESU decoders here. I only use soundtrack decoders, and I don't run DC at all. I have a DC set up on my workbench, and I flip a toggle switch, and it goes from DC C to DC, and I run DC engines only on there. I don't run DCC engines when I'm running DC. That's when I go to a train show, buy an engine. It's DC, and I'm going to convert it to DCC. Then I bring it home, make sure it runs on DC mode, good, back and forth, and then I put a decoder in it, and then I flip the switch, and now I'm DCC again. But that's all I do. Hey, Ken, Amos, welcome. How you doing tonight? Glad to see you in here. So, also I know, Alfonso, is there's a way in the decoder, the CV settings, to tell it that you want to run DC mode. But on an ESU, I don't know how to do that. So, if anybody out here uses ESUs and knows that answer, you can help out Alfonso. Yeah. Oh, well, one year we were in the Silver Dome, Rick. The one year we wrestled in the Silver Dome. That's right. Yeah. Well, yeah, but maybe somebody put it in there, Gerald. They don't come with soundtrack decoders in them. I took on my Bachmann. This is my Bachmann right here. I didn't have any decoder in it. That was a DC engine that I converted to a DCC. So, yeah, you can. You have to find out what kind of decoders in that engine. If you don't have DCC there, Alfonso, then it's going to be hard to do. And maybe you can take it to the local hobby shop, and they might be able to find out what decoders in there. From the factory, about 10 years old. Well, if Bachmann puts in soundtracks, that's news to me, Gerald. I only thought Atherin used soundtracks decoders, but Bachmann does. I like the Bachmann stuff. They make some nice engines. But I was a little leery of getting them because they have I thought they were using ESU, but if it's soundtracks, but see, TP38. Okay, so, but see, if you don't have DCC, you don't have no way to set the CV settings in that engine, Alfonso. So if you're just DC and analog there, then you need to have someone near you with DCC. And if it's a soundtrack decoder, they gotta um, go into CV29 and set the proper value for CV29 to be for DC mode. So that's all I can tell you. Got to be somebody near you that you know that has a DCC setup that can go in there, no matter what system they are, they can go in and change the CV settings on that engine for you. But CV29 in a soundtracks decoder is what you need to know. Oh, no problem, Rick. What I'll do is, once I get it sized right, I'll print one and then I'll send you a picture of it so you see. Now, are you going to put the LEDs in, or do you want me to put the LEDs in? Because I don't know if I'm going to have big enough LEDs for the O scale. I have five. I'm thinking 5mm LEDs might work in them. Once I get it printed, I'll see for sure. But yeah, you can put them in. Okay, good. I'll let you know what size you need. I'm pretty sure. I'm thinking it's going to be 5mm because I made some other signals and the holes were really big, and my 3mm LEDs that I use for most of my signaling didn't fit in there, so I bought a box of 5mm LEDs, and they're a lot bigger, and they work really nice. So yeah, as soon as I get one made, I'll send you a picture of it, Rick. Should be maybe Sunday or something. I just emailed you the photos. Okay. Yeah, I saw the picture, Rick. They're not going to look exactly like that. They're going to look like mine. That's why they charge you $39 a piece for them, because they have all that other little stuff on there. But mine are straight through. They have it's 3 pieces: the base, then the head, and then the lens cover for the 2 LEDs and that. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Yeah. They'll look good. Now that I have the A1, they'll print a lot nicer than what I was doing with them. And they're a little bit bigger, so they'll come out. They should come out pretty good. So. Well, all right, people. Well, you just email me photos. Let me see. No email yet. Well, I'll look for the email, Alfonso. All right, I want to thank everybody for stopping in tonight. I'm going to start the outro. And everybody have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. And we'll catch you all later. Here for their fans. If anybody's got any more concerns. Like I say, thanks for stopping in and spending time with me. Have a great night and enjoy your Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much. And we'll catch you all later. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks, Randall. Good night. Good night, Gerald. Happy Thanksgiving. Hey, name it. Have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you. Dwight, have a good Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much turkey. Thanks, Jim. Okay, everyone. Have a good night. We'll catch you all later.